Inbox searching activated.
Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
All right, let's stencil the other side. So, when you're doing your second stencil, the only thing that matters is your registration marks. So there's these little squares that you're gonna have, and you've gotta get them exactly on the money, okay? This is not the time to go, whoops, I'm not square, or whatever. The time to make sure that everything is square and set and correct is when you do your first stencil. Once you've done your first stencil, especially on a game like this where it's a complicated stencil and there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, gonna layer on top of each other, you just have to go with it, okay? So, you know, it's important to get your first stencil down correctly, but once you get that done, you just want to make sure this is correct. So we're good there. I'm gonna get my burnishing tool. We're gonna make our hinge. Okay. Now, again, from the center, you're gonna lay this down. And you want to just get it to where it's hitting right on that mark. Get it down nice and square. Like that. So now is kind of the moment of truth when you get to your second mark and you see if you screwed up or not. But this is going down okay, so it should be fine. Let's find out. Nailed it. So that's exactly square. It's 100% filled. We are in good shape. That's what you want to see. Okay, now comes the part of removing the backing. Now on this one, there's a lot of stars and little stripes and things, and you've got to just take it carefully when you're removing this backing. I'm going to just tear it from the top. I don't like to peel it from the back on these because it tends to pull up the stencil too much and you don't get a seal on the back side. I mean, as long as you're doing this in sections, you should be fine. Up at the top. All right, so this has been taped off. Again, yellow Tamiya tape for the sharp edges, blue tape just to hold on the newsprint. And another thing is try and go over with your finger all of the edges and make sure there's no bubbles or edges that are loose so you'll get bleed over. And you just spray it. Oh, make sure you tape off your registration marks because you will get paint around that square and then you'll be sad. Okay, so when I spray, again, that's a level 2 Montana cap, which is a fine thin, I think it's what it's called. There's a level 1 that's like ultra fine. I haven't tried that one yet, but the fine thin one seems to work pretty well. Now you just go over the whole thing and make sure you haven't left any stencil where it shouldn't be. Gonna finish stenciling the front. Once again, you've got your registration marks. You want to get those lined up perfectly. And all right, so we're on the registration marks. When you do a front, you've got to be careful because you can get into some trouble in the center piece because you're not going to get, there's no, plywood there, it's hollow. So sometimes there can be some movement left to right and up and down on the actual stencil. So you kind of want to make sure that you're really cautious about getting your stencil down correctly on each side. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm still in the marks here, and I'm going to cut this. So I'm going to just pull this into a straight line from the center. And we're just going to get this down square as I can. I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on the sides, not enough to move it obviously, but enough to make sure it goes down fairly straight. All right, now, when we do the rest of it, you kind of want to just go side to side, but again, you don't want to get yourself crooked, and it's easier to do on the fronts than on the sides of it because you just don't have the piece in the middle. Some people will use, and I've seen pinball pimp talk about this too, like a little plywood insert for the center, just to make sure you don't have that issue. But I don't know, I've been able to get by with it pretty well up till now without something like that. So I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way here. TPF is coming up in about 3 weeks, and I'm excited for TPF. It's always a good time. If you have never been to TPF, you should come. It's a really good show. A lot of cool people there, a lot of great games there. It's a good time. I'm excited to see what everybody's done. I'm excited to see what everybody thinks of the pinball over there. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's actually probably I think it's my best game I've ever done so far. I think that my Harlem Globetrotters I had a couple years ago was probably my best game until then. Last year I did a Cyclone with a custom color scheme on it, and that one was pretty cool. I honestly wasn't crazy about how the powder coat came out. The orange that I chose I think was a little bit much, just as far as visual impact. I think if I had it to do again, I would have probably done that in black powder coat, and I think it would have been better, or maybe red. A little more just traditional color than orange, I guess, I don't know. But, you learn something with every machine you do. And I think that it's still, that Cyclone is still a cool game. And somebody's got it in Oklahoma, and they're enjoying it, and that's great. But, it's like anything else you do. You learn by doing, and you learn with time. And I am by no means perfect at this. Sometimes I wonder if I called up, I think his name is Chris, with high-end pins, and said, hey, I want to come hang out with you for like a month and learn how you do what you do, he'd probably say no, but that might be cool. Just to kind of learn how he does things, because he's, you know, obviously really advanced in it. I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, it's great, and I'm really, honestly, very thankful and blessed that I've gotten to a point in this restoration thing where I've got other people who think, hey, you do a pretty good job, you know, can you do something to my game? Which is really cool. You know, kind of gives me an opportunity to keep doing what I like to do and, you know, make a tiny bit of money, I guess, doing it. I don't make very much money at all, honestly, for how much time I put in, but that's not really why I do it, you know? I'm not doing this as a business. I have a real job in the real world. But, I mean, I would restore games on my own for free if I didn't have anything else to do, you know? I mean, I got into this way back when because I thought, oh, it'd be kind of cool to take a machine that was all broken down and busted up and make it new again. And I happened to meet a guy that lives about 10 minutes from me, and he's very well known in the electromechanical community for restorations. His name is Ken Head, and he does EM restorations and EM conversions, by the way. And he's kind of mostly retired and just kind of does it on the side for fun. And so I kind of got with Ken, and I actually contacted him on Pinside and said, hey, I see you do restorations and you're near me. Would you mind if I came over and saw what you did? And he's like, sure, go for it. So that's kind of how I got started. And I did a couple of games. I helped Ken with a few games. And then I got an EM game for myself that was a big project. And I didn't actually end up finishing that game. I abandoned it and ended up selling it to somebody as a project because the mistake I made was I picked a game that I wasn't really passionate about as my first restoration project. It was an EM game called Flipper Parade, and it was a 60s Gottlieb, and it was a short flipper game, if you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't the standard flippers, and it really wasn't worth very much, and I didn't pay very much for it. But, you know, the problem was I just wasn't really passionate about it. And to take a game like that you're going to restore, you really have to be passionate about it. So that's why, you know, if you're new to restoration, that's one thing I would really say is make sure that whatever game you choose as your first game is one that you're really interested in some way. Or at least a kind of a genre of games that you're interested in some way. Like, I've kind of determined that my thing that I like to do is solid states. I like to do late 70s into the 80s and 90s solid states. That's where I'm like, this is fun for me, this is cool. And that's kind of where I've found where I like to be. And that may not be where you want to be. You may like electromechanical games. You may like only DMD games. Whatever it is, just do whatever it is that you really love And you're going to be a lot happier doing it. And you're going to be a lot more successful doing it. Because you'll have motivation, you know? Like, it's not hard for me to do a game like Pinbot. That's fun for me. Like, I loved doing that game. I loved doing the artwork. I loved doing all of the custom touches in it. I loved doing the playfield swap. It was great, but that's because that's a game I have a lot of passion for. And, hang on, I need my light. And there's some games that I've done, usually for other people, that I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But I kind of develop a passion for it as I go. Like Harlem Globetrotters. I mean, Harlem Globetrotters was not a game that I was like super into. You know, it's a cool game. And I actually developed an interest in the game through restoring it. Because I realized that there was a lot of really cool stuff about that game. And that game actually is kind of what got me into the early Bally's as well. Because I did that Harlem Globetrotters and had so much fun doing it. That game just really, it's fun. It's got a fun theme. I love the scissor flippers on it. They're cool. I just think it's fun. You know, it's like Flash Gordon's another one. I did a Flash Gordon game, and that was another one that I'd always heard about. And restoring that game gave me more of an appreciation for it than I had before. But that kind of generation of Bally's, I really feel like kind of hit a sweet spot. They've got good art, they're good playing games, and they're just a lot of fun. So anyhow, I don't take on a restoration unless I'm actually interested in doing the restoration. Like, if someone asks me to do an EM game, I've done EM games before, but if someone asks me to do an EM game and I don't really have interest in doing the EM game, then I won't do it. You know? And that's just because, again, I mean, I've got a regular job. You know, I don't have to restore pinball machines. I do it because I enjoy it. Show you guys real quick what I've done over here. So the issue is this part of the stripe was narrower, you can see, than the rest of it, and it's causing an issue with matching up with this stripe on the front. So what I've done is I've retaped this line exactly where it was. This line I taped a little bit inside, and I'm going to spray this so that it will look correct when it's all done. And I'm going to tape across right there just so we don't spray on top of that white part. Even though that's under the side rail, nobody will know, but whatever. So that's the plan. So this is kind of my setup for spraying. So I've got a drop cloth that I've gotten around it, and it's kind of taped up like that. You have to do that because spray paint will get all over the place if you don't, and you really have to be careful that you don't get spray paint sort of misting down over the rest of your game. All right, now we're going to untape and see what happens. Okay, not too bad. You had one delamination issue, which I think was my fault. It's right here. And I think I just put way too much shear pressure on it, and it ripped the white there and brought it up. Now I think what I'm going to try and do is let this all dry, and I'll get some more white paint and put it underneath there as sort of a glue, and then push it down and see if I can get that paint to re-adhere. because the coin door goes right here. So it's going to be sort of hidden by the coin door. That little blub right there is the part that could be an issue. So we'll see what happens. One thing I've learned though, it's really tempting to be like, oh my gosh, I messed it up, I have to fix it. And the reality is, let it dry. You're gonna do more harm than good at this point. Just let it dry, and I'll come back and fix that in a little bit. Let's see if you can see. Oh, there you go. So you can see the area of delamination right there. That's the issue. And I think what happened was it wasn't really well adhered to this area right by that bolt hole. And when I pulled the stencil up this way, it just pulled it off of this. When I pulled the stencil this way, it pulled it off of this piece and just started to pull it up. And I didn't notice it because I was pulling from this way and it was folded over and I didn't see it until I got to there. But what I'm gonna try and do, you can see the little tear right there where that delamination happened. I think if I get under there with a brush and some white paint and just paint around in there and then push it down with my finger and kind of smooth it out, I think the paint will re-adhere and keep it down. So we're gonna try that. But first thing is one stenciled $6 Million Man with just a few little things to fix. Overall, I think it's a pretty good result. Pretty happy with it. Head's over there. So we'll get everything. I'm gonna let this dry overnight. I'll come back and see if I can fix that little bubbled up area tomorrow. And we'll go from there. Pretty update time. We're getting close to putting the playfield back in it. Got the coin door done. Looks good. Lockdown bars on. Guts are back in it. I still have to do all of the ground straps to the coin door, which I will do tomorrow because I'm tired. Side rails are on. Head is on it. I got the lock in place. I've got the light panel back on, and I got the transformer back there. I haven't put the boards in it yet. So tomorrow I'm gonna finish the grounding over there, get everything else buttoned up and put the boards in it, get everything connected, and then I should be able to put the playfield in it at that point. But that's what the paint job looks like. And then maybe we can get this thing delivered this weekend and get it out of my garage because I've enjoyed doing it, but I'm ready to move on. All right, we are driving to Oklahoma City specifically, to deliver the $6 Million Man. I realized in all of the rush to get ready for Texas Pinball Festival next weekend that I forgot to do a reveal video on this game. So I'll try and get some shots as I deliver it. The owner has the back glass anyway, so you wouldn't get a full picture of what the game looks like. But yeah, we're on the road and gonna take a game up there. All right, we've dropped off the game. The owner was very happy with it. I unfortunately forgot to get video. Sorry, guys. So we dropped off the game and he gave us a dolly, which is now in the back. That's the next project for him. That'll be a few down in the queue. I think the next one we're gonna do after Texas Pinball Festival is Jurassic Park, which will be a Data East Jurassic Park. After that, or maybe at the same time, we're gonna do my taxi and get that one done. And then after those two are done, I'll do this dolly. And after that, I have a Theater of Magic that's actually a European model that I'm gonna convert back to the US. That thing's a basket case, so that'll be an interesting build. So that's my game. So I'll be blinging that one out similar to Pinball. So now we're going over to another place to pick up a game for a buddy of mine, and we're gonna head back. So that's the end of $6 Million Man. It was a fun project. I learned a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.